Penetration. The act of entering into or through something. Sunscreens can help reduce the penetration of ultraviolet rays into the skin. Loophole. An opportunity to legally avoid a rule. The loophole has allowed hundreds of drunk drivers to avoid prosecution. Indigenous. Originating in a particular region or country. Each country has its own indigenous culture and tradition. Surrogate. Someone who takes the place of another person. The girl has agreed to act as a surrogate mother for her sister. Mitigation. The action of reducing the severity. Create strategies for risk mitigation and contingency planning. Predatory. Intended to injure competitors by unfair means. The owl is a predatory bird that kills its prey with its claws. Viability. Ability to work successfully. The company has questioned the commercial viability of the excavation. Requisition. An official request for something is needed. The commercial requisition of land should be compensated in the marketing price. Internship. A short-term work experience offered by companies. One of my friends has already started his internship in a law office. Mandate. An official order or commission to do something. The government gave the police a mandate to reduce the crime rate. Boycott. Voluntary abstention from a product or person. The group is calling for a mass consumer boycott of these goods. Gambit. Something said or done to gain advantage. His opening gambit at the debate was a direct attack on company policy. Incumbent. A person who holds a particular job in an office. It is incumbent upon parents to control what their children watch on the internet. Hierarchy. A system of organizing people into different ranks. The number of women declines as you ascend the professional hierarchy. Camaraderie. Mutual trust and friendship among people. The camaraderie among fellow employees made the tedious work just manageable. Obituary. A brief biography of the deceased person. His obituary notice had appeared in the newspaper. Pseudonym. False name used by writer. He had exhibited in Moscow under a pseudonym and been pleased with the reaction. Specimen. Something shown or examined as an example. Job applicants have to submit a specimen of handwriting. Forensic. Related to scientific methods of solving crimes. Forensic examination has shown a large quantity of poison in the dead gentleman's stomach. Asylum. Protection given to someone by a government. He fled the country and is now seeking asylum in America. Trendy. About the latest trend and styles. But this trendy new board game is littered with connotations of drug use. Subtle. Not very obvious or easy to notice. The images are similar, but there are subtle differences between them. Bleak. Gloomy and depressing. The viewpoint for sufferers of this disease is bleak. Futile. Producing no result or effect. Their attempts were extraordinary but ultimately futile. Docile. Easily handled or managed. Religion has been accused indeed of keeping people docile and innocent. Eminent. Well known and respected. She invoked several eminent scholars to back up her theory. Doleful. Causing grief or misfortune. The casualty of the traffic accident was a doleful event for everyone. Esoteric. Having an inner or secret meaning. Its esoteric meaning is in the domain of the academic rather than the layman. Prudent. Careful, and using good judgment. It might be more prudent to get a second opinion before going forward. Prolific. Fruitful or highly productive. She was probably the most prolific artist of her generation. Laconic. Using few words in speech or writing. It reflects his laconic style, and what was going on under the surface. Prodigious. Extremely great in ability. Building the bridge was a prodigious feat of engineering and sponsorship. Convivial. Pleasant and friendly in manner. Pubs are good places for a drink and some convivial discussion. Inherent. Belonging to the basic nature. I'm afraid the difficulties you mention are inherent in the system. Reclusive. Avoiding the company of other people. He had been living a reclusive life in Los Angeles since his marriage broke up. Minuscule. Extremely small in size or amount. These beasts may be minuscule, but they live life on a surely striking scale. Plethora. An excessive amount of something. New York has a plethora of new commissions and executive agencies. Frugal. Economical in use or expenditure. As teenagers, we were taught to be frugal and hard-working. Imminent. Likely to occur at any moment. A publication of further cuts in government expenditure is imminent. Coherent. Logically or aesthetically ordered. She appeared hardly capable of conducting a coherent conversation. Dormant. The inactivity of something. The infection remains dormant in nerve tissue until activated. Ponderous. Clumsy because of great weight. It seemed like such a ponderous and old-fashioned system. Congenial. Pleasant and friendly in nature. The department provides a congenial atmosphere for animal research. Dubious. Uncertain feelings and doubts about something. The agency was accused of dubious accounting practices. Arduous. Demanding great exertion. They undertook the arduous task of monitoring the elections. Homogeneous. Elements that are all of the same kind. These filters are mass-produced with homogeneous glass fibers. Culpable. Deserving blame, guilty of doing something wrong. Messy accounting was culpable for the shortfall in revenue. Intrepid. Willing to do dangerous things. Some intrepid individuals were still prepared to make the expedition. Flagrant. Shocking because of being so obvious. The attack on civilians is a flagrant violation of the peace treaty. Reticent. Unwilling to provide information about something. Most of the scholars were reticent about answering questions. Lucrative. producing a great deal of profit. He recommended we look abroad for more lucrative business ventures. Indulgent. Allowing someone to do what they want. Her indulgent mother was willing to let her do anything he desired. Dearth. An amount of something that is too small. There seems to be a dearth of reliable information on the subject. Noxious. Physically harmful or destructive. Heavy manufacturing companies pollute our rivers with noxious chemicals. Cryptic. Having a meaning that is mysterious. Write down any error messages you understand, no matter how cryptic. Reciprocal. Mutually corresponding. High-ranking officials from both nations make regular visits on a reciprocal basis. Rigorous. Extremely thorough and careful. The additional group adopted a much more rigorous approach to the problem. Vigilant. Being very careful to notice things. They warned the public to be vigilant and report anything suspicious. Diligent. Done in a careful and detailed way. Their lawyer was extremely diligent in formulating their case. Vindictive. Inclined to revenge. People have become more envious, more mistrustful, and more vindictive. Animosity. A feeling of strong dislike. There's a long history of animosity between the two counties. Jeopardy. In danger of being lost. A series of hindrances have put the whole project in jeopardy. Consensus. General agreement among a group of people. It is challenging to reach a consensus about electoral transformation. Nuances. A subtle difference in meaning. Some of the historical nuances are beyond the knowledge of most youngsters. Vehemence. The forceful expression of strong feelings. She spoke more loudly and with more vehemence than she had intended. Presumptuous. When someone takes liberties, doing things too boldly. It would be presumptuous of me to comment on the issue. Tentative. Something that is uncertain. The country is taking its first tentative steps towards social equality. Volatile. Change suddenly and unexpectedly. The global oil markets have been highly volatile since the early 1980s. Sporadic. Not happening or appearing in a pattern. Our advertising campaigns have been too sporadic to have had success. Taciturn. Tending to be quiet, not speaking frequently. The ant is the most hard-working animal, however, it is the most taciturn one.